Pay close attention to what I'm going to tell you now. You may not realize it, but there are silent, discreet habits that are stealing your prosperity every day. It's not just about money. These habits are damaging relationships, stealing your peace, undermining your confidence, and little by little, leading you and your family down a path you never wanted to take. But here's the good news. Today is the day you can put an end to it. In this video, I will reveal to you the 6 habits that the Bible warns and condemns for blocking your prosperity. I've watched hundreds of people, from successful business people to renowned pastors, completely change their lives when they abandoned these harmful attitudes. Stay with me until the end, because what you will learn here can transform your story, protect those you love most, and align you with the powerful and abundant purpose that God has for your life. Now let's delve a little deeper into this issue. Have you ever felt like you work too much but never have enough money? Does it seem like the more you win, the tighter it gets? I know exactly how you feel, and I want to tell you that this has a very strong spiritual and practical reason. These days, more than 60% of people live paycheck to paycheck. Pay attention. This does not happen because of a lack of faith or because God is not listening to your prayers. The truth is that what is often missing is not prayer, but financial wisdom. The Bible never called us to live in scarcity. On the contrary, Jesus came to give us life in abundance. But achieving this promise requires a profound transformation in the way we think and act. Just as Paul teaches in Romans 12:2, we need to renew our mind and abandon old patterns that block our prosperity. Together, let's discover which habits are keeping you away from the abundance that God has already prepared for you. Let's put an end to this busy life and start living the fullness you deserve. Habit 1. Spend everything you earn. One of the most dangerous behaviors, and at the same time most accepted by modern society, is spending exactly everything you earn. It may seem normal, it may even seem necessary for those who live on the edge, but the truth is that this habit is destructive. It keeps you trapped in a cycle of survival, where any unforeseen event turns into a financial tragedy. And you know what's worse? This happens at all rental levels. People who earn $1,000, $5,000, or $50,000 a month often live the same way, with a zero account at the end of the month. The Bible already warned about this. In Proverbs 21:20 it is written, "In the house of a wise man there is precious treasure and oil, but a fool devours everything he has." It's not about how much you earn, it's about how much you can save, protect, multiply. Biblical wisdom is not just spiritual, it is practical. A wise heart knows how to retain. An impulsive heart spends everything it touches. The problem with living without saving is that you hand over control of your life to chance. Any illness, layoff, or emergency becomes an emotional and financial earthquake. Therefore, the first decision that needs to happen is the following. Stop spending everything that comes in. Create a plan, set a spending limit, and determine a percentage to save, even if it's small, because the act of saving is more about discipline than value, and discipline generates freedom. You don't need to earn more to prosper. You need to become someone who manages what you have well. Prosperity begins with self-control, and self-control is a fruit of the Spirit. The change starts now, in the simplest and most powerful habit. Habit 2. Buy only liabilities. There is a subtle trap that consumer culture has created, the false sense of achievement. You work, you get paid, and you immediately buy something that gives you that reward feeling. A new car, a latest generation cell phone, a watch, an electronic device, clothes. Society has taught that prosperity is ostentation, and the more visible, the better. But what no one told you is that these objects you buy are not making you rich. They are impoverishing you. In financial language, we call liabilities things that take money out of your pocket. The Bible also talks about this in another way. In Matthew 6:19, Jesus says, "Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy." In other words, don't invest your energy in things that lose value over time. This is a waste of purpose. The true sign of financial wisdom is investing in assets that work for you. It could be a skill that you develop, a course, an investment, a business, something that generates a return. When you buy a liability, you increase your monthly expense. When you invest in an asset, you build a multiplication path. It's the difference between planting and consuming. Those who only consume become poor. Whoever plants, prospers. The change here is not just financial, it's mental, it's spiritual. It's about getting out of immediacy and thinking like someone who wants to leave a legacy. The next time the impulse to buy something strikes, stop and ask, will this make me rich or poor? This simple question can prevent years of scarcity and pave the way for a life of abundance. Now let me ask you something. If this content is making sense to you, if in some way it is awakening you, confronting you, or encouraging you, subscribe here to the channel. Your presence here is very important. This space is not just about finances, it is about purpose, about life, about transformation. And I want to walk with you on this journey. Also take advantage and comment below which city and country you are watching. It's always amazing to see how far this message is reaching. Every comment you make here is not just a number. It's a sign that there is someone on the other side seeking to grow with God and prosper with conscience. And that motivates me to continue. Habit 3. Living on debt. Living in debt is not just a financial problem. It is a spiritual, emotional, and often family problem. Constant debt corrodes peace, consumes energy, steals sleep, and make no mistake, it doesn't start big. It starts with small concessions, small installments, small slips. But when you realize it, you're working to pay for what's already passed, while the present slips through your hands. In the United States, the average credit card debt exceeds $6,000 per person, and that's just the surface. Behind these numbers, there are marriages in crisis, growing anxiety, lack of purpose, shame. The Bible does not ignore this. In Proverbs 22:7 it is written, "The rich rules over the poor. The borrower is the slave of the lender." And that word is strong, slave, because that's exactly what debt does. It traps, limits, sucks your growth possibilities. Financial freedom doesn't start when you earn more. It starts when you stop duty. This means adopting a new mindset, not buying what you can't afford, not living to please others, not using your card as an emotional cane. Each plot is a prison. Every interest is a thief that walks through the front door. Eliminating debt takes courage. It requires saying no to the majority standard, but it is also a decisive step for anyone who wants to honor God with their financial life. Because the Lord called us to be the head, not the tail. Govern, not be governed. And that includes your finances. Habit 4. Think only about the short term. One of the biggest causes of poverty in the lives of many is not the lack of intelligence, nor faith, nor opportunities. It's a lack of vision, the inability to see beyond next week, next paycheck, next bill. This is what we call financial myopia, a focus so intense on the now that it completely blinds the future. The Bible teaches us to think like farmers. In James 5:7 it is written, "Be patient, therefore, brothers, until the coming of the Lord. Behold, the farmer waits patiently for the precious fruit of the earth, until he receives the early and late rains." In other words, everything that is precious requires time. Only those who sow reap. Only those who wait prosper. And no one plants to harvest on the same day. People who only think about the present are always chasing losses. They live putting out fires, always reacting, never building. And that is a cycle of frustration. Now, when you develop the ability to think in 5, 10, 20 years, you start to build solidly. You create reserves, invest in what really matters, make room for sustainable growth. The immediate mentality is childish, but long-term vision is one of the marks of spiritual and emotional maturity. If today you start acting with this vision, yourself of tomorrow will thank you. Because what seems small today, over time, becomes immense. God works in the process, but you need to plant with intention. Habit 5. Pray much, act little. There is a distorted idea in Christian circles that praying is enough. And yes, prayer has power. But prayer without action is like faith without fruit. It dies in the field of intention. James 2:17 is straight to the point. So also faith, if it does not have works, is dead by itself. God answers prayers, but He honors attitudes. It opens doors, but you are the one who needs to cross. Many hide behind spirituality to justify their lack of initiative. They pray for a job, but don't update their resume. They ask for provision, but do not adjust the budget. They cry out for direction, but ignore planning. Praying is essential, but acting is obedience. Joseph did not interpret Pharaoh's dreams with faith alone. He presented a strategy. He planned the 7 years of plenty and the 7 years of scarcity. And that's what put him in a government position. True faith reveals itself in practice. And when you pray sincerely and act responsibly, heaven moves in your favor. Stop waiting for things to change on their own. God wants to bless you, but He needs to find someone in you willing to move. Faith is the ignition, but action is the fuel of prosperity. Habit 6. Reject financial wisdom and mentoring. One of the most common and costly mistakes is to disregard the power of applied wisdom. Many think they already know enough, or worse, they think that learning about money is something carnal, earthly, unworthy of the Christian life. But the Bible says exactly the opposite. In Proverbs 15:22 we read, "Where there is no counsel, plans fail, but with many counselors there is success." What is missing is not faith, it's direction. It's learning from those who have already gotten to where you want to get to. Rejecting mentoring is rejecting safe shortcuts. It is choosing to learn through pain rather than instruction. It's not spirituality, it's pride in disguise. And pride is the declared enemy of prosperity. It is not a sin to study finance. It is not vanity to seek mentors. It is wisdom. Wisdom that avoids mistakes, anticipates crises, shortens paths. God has always used men to guide other men. Moses had Jethro, David had Nathan, Paul had Barnabas, and you need someone too. When you honor wisdom, God honors your walk. Financial growth begins by recognizing that it's not just about working hard, but about working smart, with principles, with direction. Wisdom is the key that opens doors that force will never be able to break down. True poverty doesn't start in the wallet, it starts in the mind. Before someone ran out of money, they were already without direction, without clarity, without control. What keeps you trapped is not the bills, it's habits. These are the small thoughts. It is the belief that scarcity is normal, and it isn't. You were created in the image of an abundant God, who multiplies bread, who turns water into wine, who makes the desert a place of provision. But this God works with those who are willing to obey. Change your habits, and you change your life. Because until you change what you repeat, you don't change what you reap. Every day that you postpone this decision is a day that God's prosperity becomes more distant. Every excuse is a delay in your destiny, but the good news is that you can change that today. Joshua 1:8 makes this clear. Meditate on this word and practice it, and you will prosper. Prosperity is a consequence, and the key is obedience. You weren't born to live tight. You were called to lead, to govern, to grow with purpose. Scarcity is not your destiny. It's just a scenario that needs to be overcome. And you overcome this with mindset, with wisdom, with faith, and with action. Remember, poverty is not just financial. She is spiritual. And when your spirit awakens, everything around you begins to align. If you are faithful in little, God will put you over much. And that much is not just money. It is peace, vision, legacy, true abundance. Now go and prosper for the glory of God. If this video helped you, if any part spoke to you, if it brought confrontation, clarity, or direction, then do the following. Leave a like now. Subscribe to the channel to walk this journey with me. Here you are not alone. And tell me in the comments, which of these habits will you eliminate first? I want to hear from you. I want to hear your story. I want to see where you are watching from. Write your city and country there. Every comment you make here shows that there is someone on the other side who is determined to grow with God and prosper with conscience. This motivates me to continue. Until the next video.